Hello everyone, welcome to this 2026 special feature dedicated to weapons in EVA.
Season 7 arrived in early February with the primary objective of stabilizing the game above all else. No new content, but a major change in the meta, which underwent some modifications and balancing in early April. We're going to explain why. In Season 5, the T1 Gauss shotgun was greatly reworked, and despite the addition of the M12, another shotgun, the MP52 submachine gun reigned as the undisputed master of the kill feed. In Season 6, the Spectre and the sonar arrived, and with them, a rework of several weapons. Even if the MP was dethroned by the Spectre, AR rifles such as the MX or the AK became playable on the competitive scene. In Season 7, the M12 was revised as well as the T1 Gauss, both returning full strength into the meta and causing very close-range duels. But for several reasons, the T1 Gauss's damage to limbs was revised, which made it more random, and caused it to disappear from the competitive scene in favor of the M12. The latter became so oppressive that a large part of the community campaigned for a rebalance. And towards the end of April, a patch note not only balanced the M12 on several stats, but also revised the MP and ARs upwards, slightly nerfed the Warden, and improved the dispersion threshold of the Fury.
In short, the balancing seems mostly fixed for this season, but like any good player, you have to stay alert for future patch notes. Back to the weapons presentation.
Let's start with range. Almost all weapons have a range beyond which they will be less effective. We often designate three range zones. Close range, a few meters in front of you, generally no more than 5 meters. Mid-range sees a distance of 5 to 30 maximum. For example, on Ceres, this is the distance between the two back walls in the main room. Long range is anything that exceeds 30 meters. These long shooting lines are found on Artifact, Polaris or Lunar, for example. Furthermore, it is good to remember that shots can hit three different parts: the limbs, arm or legs, the torso, and the head. The inflicted damage depends on the hit zone. The details will not be presented here, but you'll find all the information on the website EVA Battle Plan, which lists all the up-to-date statistics. Before presenting the weapons in detail, let's take a quick look at the ranking of the weapons as a whole. Each weapon has a number of stars, 5 stars being the easiest and 0 the hardest. I have grouped the weapons into 4 lines. Meta, what is very often seen in competition. Correct, what can be seen in local leagues or, occasionally, in pro leagues. Complicated, what is playable but not optimal. For fun, as the name suggests, to be played for enjoyment. You can pause if you want to study it longer. If the details of the weapons do not interest you, you can skip to the chapter on roles and recommendations. A small side note, the reason why so many weapons are in the meta category is because EVA developers have taken a particular care in weapons balancing. Some specific weapon types will be found on specific maps, but nonetheless, all of them will be seen in Pro League. It should be noted that the Westfire is technically meta because it is widely spread among the pro players, but I cannot recommend it to you unless you practice it several times a week. The M12 Tactical is a shotgun released in Season 5 and reworked for Season 7. It fires in repetition with good damage but a large dispersion. A powered-up shot can be loaded with a B button on the controller, which is its main appeal. The pellet shot becomes straight and one-shots everywhere if all the pellets hit at 5 meters or less. Afterwards, the power shot is deactivated for 50 seconds. You have to see the power shot as a precision weapon, because if you miss, the opponent will not miss you. Also, pay attention to your avatar's raised elbow. More pronounced than for other weapons, the game can refuse your shot if the elbow is in a wall or a partition. The T1 Gauss is a single-shot shotgun. The latest patch requires hitting the torso or head to truly one-shot the opponent. Because of its dispersion, it has become too random to be played in competition. It remains playable, but you must have the reflex to change weapons to finish the opponent. And in the case of a face-to-face duel, there is a good chance that the opponent will kill you first. Let's briefly address the SOCOM, a pistol with a correct fire rate but very low damage. It only exists to start a cooperative campaign against zombies and also to restrain strong players in a session with beginners. The Striker has a high fire rate but large dispersion, one of the best weapons for very close combat, but it quickly becomes useless past a few meters. Note that in the absence of a gun sight, a laser pointer allows you to see your aim at any time, but this laser pointer is visible to everyone, including opponents. Released for Season 6, the Spectre ruled as the flagship weapon before being balanced with other submachine guns for Season 7. More versatile than the Striker, it combines a good fire rate and correct range. It is an excellent default weapon for any beginner. Finally, let's finish with the MP52. Similar to the Spectre, it has a lower fire rate but better damage. It shines a bit more at mid-range than the Spectre, but in the end it will mostly be your feeling in-game that should guide your preference. Personally, I recommend it as a complement to a sniper. Let's move on to mid-range with the Westfire. Its particularity, besides the lack of a sight and the single-shot nature, is to one-shot in the head between 5 and 25 meters. It is a demanding weapon, which requires excellent aim and stability, but which rewards regular training. My advice for playing it? If you don't hit the head, hide while loading the next bullet. With a hit to the body, the next shot, even by guesswork, will be enough to kill your opponent. If you want more details, Wire released an excellent video on this subject, the link is in the description. The MX-42 is the default weapon for any beginner. Don't be fooled by its simplicity. Its good range and low dispersion makes it excellent in any duel. It inflicts less damage to limbs than the AK, but hits more precisely and rewards headshots. The latest patch makes it even more formidable for versatile line holding. The AK-77 is a variant of the MX-42. What it loses in dispersion, fire rate, reload time and ammunition, it gains in damage per bullet. For all those reasons, you must hit your target more often and better, but it is also more permissive if you only manage to hit the limbs. We are going to skim over the Vulcan. It fires 3 bullets in a burst with a small dispersion after the first one. Despite good damage and good range, the slightest missed bullet or one that hits a limb forces a third burst, which makes it less effective than other ARs. It sees no use in tournaments, but remains very decent to use, especially in team play if you concentrate your fire with a teammate. We will also just mention the ERG, known as the laser. It is a weapon for true beginners. No dispersion, but no gun sight, and you see the large laser melting down the opponent's HP. In terms of damage, the developers do not want to put it at the same level as other weapons. It is therefore unused in competition, especially since the large beam immediately reveals your position. Finally, let's finish with a very particular Colt pistol, the Warden. With zero dispersion and high damage, its disadvantage is a small magazine and only having an open sight. Its small 3D footprint makes it ideal for firing in Lebanese style or blind fire, over a piece of scenery or the shield. The opponent will have a much harder time aiming at you. It requires a lot of training to handle well, but its damage is worth it. Now, moving on to the long-range weapon par excellence, the Atlas Sniper. Aiming mode is done with the B button. You will have tunnel vision, no grenade indicator or enemy shots from the sides. A headshot results in a one-shot, while the torso and limbs deal high damage. Pro tip: even in the event of a successful hit, dodge to exit the aim and avoid an enemy shot. And if you don't kill with a headshot, a weapon switch is faster and you can finish the low-life opponent if he doesn't hide. If handling the sniper is a problem or you need to be aware of your surroundings, then the Fury is your best alternative. Large magazine, good fire rate and damage, its flaw is that you need to be static in one place to not suffer from the enormous movement dispersion. This is the main reason why we don't see it in competition, where everyone moves quickly everywhere. But in local leagues, especially when playing on-site, it has a potential now that the Warden can no longer take a duel against a well-positioned Fury. The needle disappeared from the radar after its rework in Season 5, due to a hideous sight and a DPS lower than the Warden. In Season 7, it regained its old sight and some popularity. The needle remains inferior to the Warden in terms of fire rate, but the damage is close and it is mostly played for holding the shooting line. A good alternative to the Warden if its open sight is a problem for you. Let's address the final point, the choice of additional equipment. By default, you will be equipped with the DX Plasma Grenade. It has a good lobbed range and a correct area of effect. Its bounce allows it to reach enemy ambush points. This is essential to master on specific maps like Polaris or Silva. I also have a collection of essential DX Grenades throws to master, the link is in the description. The second choice of grenade is the Sticky, which, as its name suggests, sticks to the first surface encountered. Although it no longer one-shots since Season 5, its enormous damage radius and low cooldown makes it the preferred grenade for many maps. Fun fact, the Sticky explodes directly when the attached object disappears. This applies to the shield, but also a player. A stuck opponent can, therefore, upon death, also cause damage to nearby players. The shield is a small portable wall, limited to 1 per team. Without a doubt, the most OP piece of equipment, but also the most complex to master because you need to have a good knowledge of the map and how to place it correctly. The shield is solid, all shots on it count as torso hits in terms of damage. Any player can pass through it, but be careful, you cannot pass the weapon through to fire. You will need to do a Lebanese style shot or squats to take full advantage of the cover. Finally, the sonar is the latest arrival in Season 6. Upon contact with an object, it triggers a detection wave that reveals opponents for a short period of time. And the further the opponent is from the radius of the wave, the shorter the revelation. It is useful for your attack to reveal enemy positions, but also in defense to counter the retake strategy. My advice for playing it defensively: use it immediately when the opponent has thrown theirs. This allows you to anticipate incoming movements or even make the opponent hesitate, and allows you to gain extra percentage points. Let's finish this video with the roles and recommendations. Overall, there are 3 roles. The support is responsible for holding a zone or a line of sight, generally at the back of the line, but can move forward if necessary. The rusher will look to create opportunities and open up areas. The backup is versatile, capable of moving forward as well as holding lines. His actions are based on allied movements. That being said, roles are not fixed and will more often depend on the context, even if the choice of weapon often determines the way one engages in an assault or prepares a defense. For your first matches, I recommend opting for 1 mid-range weapon and 1 close-range weapon, for example, an MX-42 with a Spectre or an MP-52. But don't forget to have fun too. Test the weapons, learn their handling and their characteristics, and you will find your equipment preferences. I hope this video was useful to you. Feel free to share it and like it, and don't forget to use my referral code to gain immediately 10 experience levels.